Hi there, welcome to the channel, or welcome back, and welcome to another weekly garden vlog. My name is Angela and I'm so happy that you have joined me here. All throughout the week I'll be filming little clips of what's going on here in my Zone 6 garden. I compile them all at the end of the week and put it out to you guys on Monday so you can see how the past week went here in my garden if you're interested in that. That sounds good, let's go. So right here sitting on my potting bench are one tray of mostly tomatoes, a pepper or two, and then another tray of pepper seedlings. These are some columbine seedlings that I did a bunch more than what's left over here, and I already have got them planted out, so I'm hoping that they do well. But by and large, my tomatoes and peppers didn't get off to a great start. So these are the ones that were doing not as good, like the worst ones out of the bunch, so to speak. That's why they did not make it into the ground or into a potting bed or one of my raised beds, and they're still here on the trays. I will go ahead and pull all the tags, the labels. I reuse these labels every year. This is a special like paint marker that I use to write the names on, and since I do grow the same seeds every year, I just reuse these tags year after year after year. They don't fade. That's the great thing about this marker. It just doesn't fade. I'll put a link to these tags and the marker below. I get both of them off Amazon. So what I'll do is to pull all the tags out, and I'll recycle this soil here for sure. So that seems like a lot going to waste, and it kind of hurts my heart to do that, but it happens, you know. I am kind of glad that I do overseed, because a lot of times plants, seedlings will be doing well seemingly, and then once I get them planted somewhere out here, they fail, or they just don't thrive, and so then I can just simply plop in another one of my leftovers, and maybe that one will stand a better chance. Other than that, I have found a new, to me, way of hopefully preventing the slugs from getting to my tiny little seedlings. I'm going to show you what that is, so let's look at that now. I did find another product on Amazon, and what would we do without Amazon? And these are these little cloches, I guess you would say, kind of almost like a little greenhouse effect, but it has, let's see if I can get this to focus in better. Apologies for this. So it has on the top here a little swivel that covers up two holes for air ventilation, and this one I had accidentally kept it closed, which is why it's got all the moisture on it. That would be a mistake in temperatures this hot, so I'll get that opened up. So what I'm using them for is to put onto my little pepper seedlings, the ones that already have encountered some slug damage, just to see if this will help them. So those seedlings were already, 4 inches tall or more, and they were still taking a lot of hit. But what I am going to also do is to put one of them on baby seedlings, like this cucumber here, which you can see that's already, taken some damage. So I'm going to pull one of those off of one of the pepper seedlings and stick it on this cucumber. And I'm kind of hopeful about this, because one of the uses for these that's billed in the listing on Amazon is to prevent slug damage. So we'll see how it goes. It's got to be better than what I've tried so far, outside of using any kind of chemical pesticides, which I'm really trying to 100% avoid going forward. I'm still waiting for my melon seeds to germinate, and I think I might have to reseed them. I don't know if they're going to make it or not. I might give it a couple more days and keep it watered and see, but I might have to reseed them. I think the problem has just been so hot. Same with my sunflowers, which are what is mostly in these two grow bags here. The seeds in this left bag germinated, but as you guys might have seen, I did have some slug damage, and they just chomped those seedlings to the ground level, essentially. That was what prompted me to try this copper tape, which I'm not real set that is going to be a viable slug deterrent. Not that I won't try it again, but I'm not real sure about that. Other than that, I do have some beans that are sprouting. These here are Robert Hazelwood, so those are coming up nicely. And I've got a couple in this grow bag. These are succotash. And the one a little further back are slippery silks. I've grown those for years now. They always do really well. And I have been harvesting potatoes a little bit, like new potatoes, small ones, the ones that have worked themselves up to the top. And ideally I should be covering those and adding more soil to the grow bags, but I really don't have any soil. So I'm just gonna take what I get, and maybe I'll do better with those next year. And that's about all I have to share with you today. It's mostly been a matter of keeping everything watered really well because of this dreadful heat wave that we're in. I think that a lot of the U.S. is in. Let me know in the comments below if you're experiencing this too. How often are you watering your garden, and are you watering your trees? The only trees and shrubs that I'm watering are the ones that I've just planted this year. And it might do me well to water any that I planted last fall, and I have been, I guess, mostly doing that for the most part. So almost every day I'm out here watering the trees and the vegetable garden, and sometimes twice a day if I can swing it with my schedule. Let me know what you're doing as far as this heat goes, as far as your garden goes in this heat, and I'll be back soon. I'll catch up with you on the next segment. Hey there, it's Thursday, June 20th, so now we're officially 2/3 of the way into June. It's so hard to believe. I still have not sowed any watermelon seeds this year for a couple of reasons. One, I'm kind of running out of places to grow things, especially plants that will sprawl quite a bit or need to climb up. So I finally decided to go ahead and at least get the seeds started, and I'll try to find a place to tuck them in. But I kind of got smart this year, and I'm going to show you what I've done. I've had this greenhouse for a few years now, and I did do a fun little time lapse of us installing it. I'll put a link to that above or below in case you're interested in seeing that. But I've always found it kind of difficult to know how to use the greenhouse because it doesn't have a fan and it doesn't have a heater. So that means that anything growing in here in the summer gets swelteringly hot. Like right now, it is about 88 degrees outside Fahrenheit, and in the greenhouse it is over 100. So it's really, really hot in here. So I think a fan would be helpful. I do have this shade cloth, but I am going to have to reposition it because it's not in the optimal location. Let me back out and I'll show you where it would be most helpful. It really would be most helpful up along the peak of the roof there, because that's what gets the most sun. Low down like that, it's not going to take a lot of sun, so it doesn't really help. So I really need to get that shade cloth resituated. But the only window is that one there, and I don't want to block the window. So maybe I just need to get like a skinnier shade cloth to go up along the peak there. And I do keep the doors open all summer long when I'm using the greenhouse. And Hubs and I built a screen that we can insert in this opening to keep critters out. It has like a wooden frame around it. I just need to find it. It's in the shed somewhere. Right now it doesn't matter because there's nothing growing in here. So that's why it makes it hard to use the greenhouse. Actually, duh, it's right there. But if it was a snake, it's right there. I'll take you in closer to show you that here in a moment. The reason why it's harder to use it in the winter and early spring is because while it would be perfect for the daytime, on a good sunny day, it would be nice and toasty in here, or warm at least. If it's freezing at night, this greenhouse is not going to protect any seedlings. So the plan is to eventually get electricity out here, but who knows when that is going to be. But this is the screen that we built for it. So it just has these little, I guess one buys little thin strips of wood, and then we just use this screening material here. It's pretty flimsy, but it does serve the purpose to keep animals out, and it fits perfectly in the doorway and keep both of the greenhouse doors open, and it fits perfectly in the opening there. Why this all matters, or why I'm even talking about this, is because getting back to the watermelon seeds, I decided to start them in here in pots, and I put them on 2 levels so that when I water the top ones, any drainage will go right down into the second level there and save water, keep it from being wasted. And this will protect the seedlings while they are getting started. And I think I'm even going to try some cucumbers this way, and maybe some squash, just because for me, cucumbers and squash are hard to grow. As soon as the seedlings sprout and they're maybe an inch or 2 tall, they get demolished. Whether it's by slugs, bunnies, whatever, they don't ever stand a chance. It's been several years since I've grown successful cucumbers and squash. So I thought if I get them started in here, and at least until they're, yay tall, 5 or 6 inches, provided it's not too hot, then plant them out in the garden. Maybe that could be a good way to approach this. So fingers crossed that this works. I really want to use this greenhouse for something. This was a gift to me from some dear friends of ours who, the wife, she no longer needed it or wanted it. She was downsizing her garden, so she asked if I wanted this. Of course, that was a very quick yes. And already the time it took me to get those seeds in the pots and get everything watered down, I'm kind of dripping with sweat. It's really hot. I feel like it could you use that as a sauna? I could put a little chair in there and sit in it like a sauna and sweat the toxins out. I don't know if you can do that or not. I'm not a big sauna user. And other than getting everything watered today here in the veggie garden and the trees out on the property, that may be all I do here today. It's pretty hot, of course. That's like a status quo anymore. How is everything? Hot. I hope your garden's growing well. I may be back on with another segment before you guys see this on Monday, which will be June, whatever. Can't think that far ahead. Yeah, you can do the math. But I'll be back again. So here's till the next segment. Oh, before I do sign off for this segment, I'm going to show you, I've got more little tomatoes on. Let's take a look at those. This plant here is a New Yorker. I've got, looks like just one on right now. I worry about this heat. I've heard that extreme heat can keep tomato plants from flowering. And then the other one is called Sunrise Bumblebee. And I don't know if you can see the little baby tomato down there. I can't really point to it because my other hand has seed packets in it. But those are, as far as I can tell, my only 2 tomato plants that have tomatoes on. They have really made a nice recovery from the hit they took early on, some of them. So as long as I get some tomatoes, I'll be happy. And one other thing, I did harvest my first pepper. This was a plant that I bought at a local greenhouse. It wasn't one I started from seed. It's called Shimeo, and this is the plant here. And it already has another little pepper on, and I think there's another one down in there that might be shriveling up. But these are mild peppers. They're kind of, the one that I picked was about 3 or 4 inches long, kind of elongated shape, which you can kind of see from this one here. And it was really good. And I already went ahead and took the seeds out of it to save for next year. And that's really it for this segment. I need to get inside and cool off a little bit. Talk to you soon. So that has led us up to today, Sunday. This will be coming out on Monday. So we finally have gotten some rain. We have gone for maybe, I haven't been counting the days, but maybe up to 2 weeks with no rain, combined with all of those 2 weeks worth of days just about in the 90 plus Fahrenheit temperature range. Needless to say, that's not good for a garden or for the land, and I'm so happy to get some rain today, even if it's just a little bit. It rained earlier this morning and a little bit this afternoon, and it's looking like it's probably not done. So even if it just kind of spits here and there, I'll take it. My garden needs some rain. Let's go look at how things are doing. So I don't think since my last segment I have planted anything or done anything new. It's just been really keeping everything watered. And I feel like my poor little onions in here, they should be a lot bigger than they are now. It's okay. We'll just keep watering them and we'll see how they do. The peppers are looking good, and I do have some that are making a comeback now that I've got them protected under these little plastic covers here. I can see that that is in fact helping. Just keeping them safe from pests. I've got some good progress on my tomato plants. A lot of flowers. We're finally getting some height. And I am noticing, and I don't know if this is due to the heat and the lack of rain, some of the leaves are yellowing. If you guys know what that indicates, let me know in the comments. In the meantime, I'll probably Google that too, just to see what I can find out about it. I have had issues in the past where tomato leaves will get a fungus or some sort of disease process where they turn yellow with rusty brown spots on them, and I'm thinking that's some kind of a wilt. This looks a little bit different than that. They're just turning yellow, and maybe that is due to the heat and the lack of rain. And I think that I've got some watermelons sprouting. Now these are in the greenhouse, so they're not getting the rain. I'm keeping the soil moist. And I do have, this is a blacktail mountain. I've grown that many times in the past, so that is sprouting. And I think I saw down here a few days ago in the back, this is a sugar baby. If you guys can see that, but that's sprouting too. So it looks like these are doing pretty good, and I'm just happy that the seeds are sprouting. I know that these blacktail mountain seeds are old. I don't know how old. I'll have to find that out and put it up on the screen. They may not be, the packet may not be as old as I'm thinking it is, but I think I've had those seeds around for a number of years. My pole beans are most of them have popped up. There's a few that have not, and I'll give them a few more days, and if they don't sprout, I'll just go ahead and reseed. But they're doing, pretty good. Potatoes are also turning yellow. I know that's just due to lack of rain. At least that's my gut feeling. I've never had this happen with potato plants before, but I don't recall being in this particular weather situation in recent years either. So there's that. I've got some sunflower seeds planted here, and maybe that is those sprouting. I'm going to take that as a good sign. And I have been hit or miss over the years with sunflowers. It's kind of like my cucumbers and squash, like things that should be very easy to grow. It's not always the case. Even if you get the plants to germinate or the seeds to germinate, it's like almost seems like something is right there waiting to gobble them up. Sometimes I come out to find these little tops here have swiveled closed, so I just pop those back open. I feel like these are doing a really good job. I will link these below in case you're interested in those. They weren't very expensive. I just got those on Amazon, but I think that they're really helping. So 2 thumbs up so far on those. And the peppers that have made it so far, it seems like they're finally really coming back. If you guys have watched previous videos this summer, then you may recall that my peppers took a really huge hit early on, and I kind of had written most of them off as, well, this is not going to happen this year, but I'm happy to see they're kind of coming back. And one of my favorite things in the garden this year is this little hodgepodge of grow bags. I kind of use this as like the quote-unquote junk drawer of my garden, and just started planting like crazy in here. Flowers, got a bunch of zinnias, herbs, different things. Got some celery planted in there, but I would say it's mostly flowers and herbs. But they're doing really well. Like, it's really heavily planted, so you can kind of see down in there. And I kind of even though I put my little tags in there, the tags are kind of getting hidden from all the foliage. I'd have to really look closely to see what everything is in each of these. This is here Nicotiana. It's a flower. If you guys have never grown Nicotiana, treat yourself and grow it. It's easy to grow from seed. It gets really tall, pretty flowers, but the best thing about it is just the fragrance that it puts off. I grew it a few years ago for the first time, and the flowers were so fragrant. As soon as I came near my garden, the scent would hit me, and it was so delightful. I've got an Aunt Molly's ground cherry here that is putting on fruit, and actually got one that's dropped off already. And before I sign off for this week, let's walk around to the other side of the house. I have a kind of a semi-large bed over there that butts up against the house with a retaining wall, just a short little retaining wall. I mostly have flowers and native plants in there, but I did put some pumpkin seeds in, so let's go check those out. One other thing that the rain has brought, which is so nice, is cooler temperatures. I think our high here today is just going to be like 84 or 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So I can't even say how thrilled I am about that. So the other bed that I plant in is here. And I've got a couple of shrubs, but I'm trying to do this bed and just pack it jam full with native plants. This is where I planted one of the pumpkins at Fairy Tale. No luck so far. And it's looking like same here for Jack Straw. So I'll just keep watering it. I have not had a lot of good success with pumpkins personally. I don't think that they're that difficult to grow, but for some reason I just haven't been successful. Sometimes it's like that with certain things. For several years, a while back, I tried to grow cabbage. Cabbage is one of my favorite vegetables. It's probably my favorite vegetable and one of my favorite foods. I eat it pretty much every day. And I couldn't grow cabbage to save my life. And it was so frustrating. And I just couldn't believe that it was that difficult to grow. So I just had to study and learn. And I finally, my third or fourth year trying, was successful with it. And once I kind of cracked the code, so to speak, like the following year I grew it in abundance. I planted a whole bed with just cabbages. And I didn't do cabbages last year. I'm pretty sure I did not. And so far this year I haven't, but I may do them in the fall because they do well in the fall. Just because they take up so much bed space, and you get, like, at least in my experience, I get one head of cabbage per plant. So it seems like they're kind of space hogs without giving a lot back. But I'll keep trying. I mean, cabbage is one of those, it's easily found at the grocery store and it's not too expensive. So sometimes I factor that in with deciding what I'm going to grow and focus on things that I can't get at the grocery store, like delicious tomatoes or all the varieties of peppers that you can grow from seed. So that kind of has influenced me deciding not to grow cabbage these past couple of years. But I got a lot of cabbage seed packets still, so I'm not done with it, but just for now, I'm kind of taken a break from it. But I found that after learning more as much as I could and applying the things that I had learned, it wasn't really that difficult. I just needed to provide it with what it needs, like we do with any kind of plant. And that's about it for this week. I hope that your garden's growing well. Let me know how it's doing in the comments. I love chatting with you guys. And I will see you next week.